So today is the day that the government finally published their much anticipated immigration white paper, which we've all been waiting for quite a while now. As I speak, the Prime Minister is delivering his press conference to the waiting media, and we are starting to get some initial ideas on what the government are proposing. Now, first of all, it's very important to remember this is only a white paper. This is not legislation. This is not me going into the immigration rules immediately. So if you're coming up to an application very soon, then this is unlikely to affect you. The exact dates and timeline for implementation will obviously become apparent over the coming days, weeks, and months. And I expect we can anticipate some more news from the Home Secretary when she delivers her statement to Parliament this afternoon. But it's very important to remember this is just the government's opening gambit in the conversation. This is open to consultation, this is open to feedback. They will likely ask for representation from various industry bodies as part of the process. So this is very much the opening gambit from the government. There are four key areas that really stand out in terms of what the Home Office and the government's trying to do over the coming years with net migration. Obviously, the government's stated intention is to reduce net migration, and the measures that are being introduced do appear to be some of the more drastic policies that we've seen over the last few years, certainly since 2020 and the introduction of the skilled worker route. First of all, we have what appears to be the end of the 5-year route settlement. The default now appears to be that it will be 10 years route settlement if you're on a route settlement on your current visa, unless you can show that you have made a real and lasting contribution to the economy and society. Now that point is very important because that obviously introduces the possibility of still applying early. The Home Office haven't said exactly when early will be, maybe 5 years, maybe sooner, we don't know yet. But that wording there, a real and lasting contribution to the economy and society, is obviously quite loose and is open to interpretation, so the devil is going to be in the detail on that. Watch out for those details in the statement later on. The second area, the skill level under the skilled worker route, is going back up to RQF level 6, so that's degree level type roles. At the moment, and since the end of 2020, the skill level has been at RQF level 3, which is equivalent to A-level standard roles and above. We're going back up to that degree standard that we had before December 2020. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a degree to apply for your job, as has been trailed by a number of media outlets. It just means that the skill level of the job is at degree level or above. It would be unusual, and I don't expect the Home Office to introduce a requirement for you to have a degree. They may do, but I'm not expecting it. The likely implementation will be that the role is at degree level, and then it is still up to the employer, up to your sponsor, how they assess your ability to perform that job. So still giving you that flexibility to recruit someone if they don't necessarily have a degree, but they've got the skill level and the experience that matches that having that degree. Third area that is of particular significance is the English language standards going up. So at the moment it's at B1, which is a professional standard. It's certainly not fluent, but it's an awful lot more than a basic level of introduction, and it's effectively, in terms of mapping against an academic standard, it's GCSE standard English, and it's going up to B2, which again, mapping against an academic standard, is effectively A-level standard. I don't anticipate that this will have a huge impact. The majority of applicants that we see are hitting B2 levels anyway when they take their English tests. There will obviously still be the concession where if you have a degree that was taught in English, you can use that. So I don't expect that change will have too much of an impact on the number of people applying for skilled worker visas. However, what I do anticipate having a big impact is the introduction that adult dependents will have to take an English test. It appears that will be at A1 level, so very entry level standard, very, very basic English. But nevertheless, for those families moving to the UK where their partners or indeed adult dependents maybe don't speak any English, this will be a factor in terms of deciding whether to move to the UK or not. And then lastly, in terms of the key headlines, there will be introducing a new ban on hiring care workers from overseas. So this is very much U-turning the policy introduced a couple of years ago to allow care providers to recruit care workers from overseas. that's now we've come to the end of the road on that, unfortunately. It appears that you can still sponsor people who are already in the UK. It's just going to be a ban on recruiting outside of the UK. Again, the implementation of this is yet to be confirmed. It will probably be later on in the end of the year. So there's probably going to be a bit of a cliff edge that we're likely to see appear over the coming weeks and months. However, again, the devil is going to be in the detail in terms of the implementation of this. So as and when we get more details, stay tuned. We will be providing you with as much analysis as possible from here, the team of Boys Turner.